This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
China is the world's second largest consumer market, and it's an enormous magnet for global companies. There's no resource more scarce in the world than a supersized market, and China has it. It's not without challenges despite the opportunities.
I think this is also a highly competitive market. We have to make sure we always get the best, the latest and newest into China.
What does the future hold for traditional stores as e-commerce continues to rise?
Brick and mortar stores are not dead at all.
No.
But a boring brick and mortar store is going to die.
In what ways do companies view China's future business environment and consumption market?
This market, it just consists of everything, from A all the way to Z.
Improving the quality of the product and the growth of a quality consumption.
Join us this week to explore China's high-quality consumption and see how it's providing brands with new growth opportunities. Only on BizTalk, only on CGTN. Hello and welcome to this special edition of Taking the Pulse of China's Economy. Joining us today are two of the most well-known brands. Here we have Mr. Yann Bozec. He's the president of Tapestry Asia Pacific and CEO and president of Coach China. And we also have Jackie Wang here. He's the senior vice president of Dell Technologies. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. So first, tell us a little bit about your companies. We all know about Coach, but we might not know so well about Tapestry. So why don't you start?
Thank you, Michelle. And first, thank you for having me with you today. So Tapestry is a New York-based house of lifestyle brand. Three very exquisite and differentiated brands: Coach, Kate Spade New York, and Stuart Weitzman. And Tapestry, as you know, is an English word which in fact represents a piece of fabric that you use a spread to bring together. And that's a choice of word that we have as a testament to our inclusivity and diversity, because we value diversity of our three very unique brands.
All right, I know all three of them, and I enjoy all of your products. And now let's talk about Dell. Of course, we all know about Dell computers, and I'm sure every one of us has had a Dell computer at some point in our lives, but you're much more than just computers, aren't you?
Exactly, you are right, spot on. So first of all, our purpose is to create the technologies that drives human progress. Okay. And our products and solutions ranges from edge computing, data centers, and cloud solutions. That's what we are really about. And also, as we are an American company, but it's very important to know that we have been here doing service since 1998. For the client part, we have over 1,400 engineers doing nothing but not the deployment, not residency service, not consulting, but really the technical support part of the business. Again, it's very important that we create innovations, not just the best product, latest product, and the best service, but also the product that can really resonate with our end users.
China always strives to pursue opening up on all fronts. Chinese authorities are improving the business environment and optimizing services to support foreign companies. That includes everything from the continuous expansion of free trade zones to promoting high standard implementation of the RCEP agreement and Belt and Road cooperation. China's ongoing opening up benefits the national economy, multinational companies, and of course, consumers. We know that China is determined to continue to open up, attract foreign companies, make a business environment good for all the foreign companies in China, right? What do you think in the coming years, or what are some of the suggestions to the Chinese business environment?
I think it's a continuation of a trend when there was a very defining moment where the government and the leadership were saying that it's maybe less about the quantity, but a lot more about the quality. And they were speaking about the GDP growth, but at the end it's moving to a big initiative. Improving the quality of the product, improving the quality of the service, improving the quality of the life of everybody. And I think, as Jackie said, that will come with a growing importance of consumption.
Yeah.
The government have this strategy of the dual circulation, and we see that as really the exemplification of the vision of the dual circulation and the growth of a quality consumption. And that's important in the sense that the customer is becoming even more and more refined in his choice, more and more discerning, but also more and more demanding in terms of high quality product and super high quality service.
Again, this market is huge. It just consists of everything, from A all the way to Z. So it's really up to all the brands to be selective, where you want to really compete, and how you can really cater to the needs. I would say at the end of the day, it's all about how to really cater to the needs, all the newfound needs of the consumers. And sometimes we have to lead a little bit on that, just to make sure that we can create better a market as well, not just tapping the market, but also creating part of the market here in China.
China is making efforts to recover an economy affected by a resurgence of COVID-19. Despite a slowdown in July and August, companies around the world are still voting with their feet to invest in the Chinese market. That's because they see the demand potential here. Numbers show foreign direct investment in China from January to July jumped 21.5% year-on-year in US dollars. And according to McKinsey, the Chinese consumer market is already the world's largest in purchasing power, and the Chinese middle class will continue to grow in scale. Also, let's not talk about sustainable growth. And I feel like sustainable growth, and also in general, is a big thing right now, right? So tell us what your companies are doing to ensure, sustainable and green development.
We are launching, I believe, very emotional and exciting opportunities around upcycling, bringing back your handbag, for example, and we will transform it and you will get like a new one.
Oh.
We call that Coach Reloved.
Okay.
We're also looking with a lot of detail about how do we source our material. Leather is a byproduct of the meat industry.
Yeah.
But then, you have some way to raise cattle in a way that in fact is not only carbon neutral, but is helping the planet. And you have way which in fact are not helping the planet. So
of course,
as a responsible company, we need to really make the right choice and move into the right direction.
Yeah, a lot can be done for that. And I know you're very involved in ESG.
Yes, we're doing that big time. I would say it's becoming our corporate DNA, just to be, try to be more sustainable with a clear goal in mind. So right now, if you look at our packaging, I would say even for our high-end product, our packaging is not necessarily extreme in packaging. We don't over-package. And also 90% plus of our current packaging actually comes from reusable and recyclable materials. And we hope that by 2030, we could be at 100%. And also for our products, it's the same. We want to make sure that by 2030, 50% of our products actually comes from recyclable, reusable materials that could contribute more to reducing the carbon footprint. So clearly, short-term, long-term, and also the future. But again, it's part of the DNA. I want to do more.
Coming up next, how can companies keep up with China's fast-paced market?
We never look at China only as a market. We rarely look at China also as a source of inspiration.
Can international brands remain competitive when Chinese domestic brands gain momentum?
We don't lose local touch, while we can benefit from being a global company.
"360-degree profiles of industry movers and shakers, tech mavericks, and policymakers. We drill down on their success. We ask how they set strategy and how they navigate in an increasingly competitive market. Real talk, real business. Join the conversation. BizTalk, only on CGTN.
What are some of the highlights and trends that you're observing in China in terms of China's consumers? Some changes in demographics, for example, or their preference? Or who wants to start? Why don't we start with you?
Yeah, I think definitely the world is in a different place now. More specifically here in China, I think definitely that was an accelerator of a trend which was already extremely strong, which is the digitalization of the business. I mean, our Chinese customers are spending 7-8 hours on mobile phone watching a lot of funny video or very exciting fashion video, by the way, or playing games. I think as a way for us to adapt as a consumer brand, it's about staying laser focused on all of the change of the customer. And lucky enough, I think 4 years ago, we realized that a lot of our teams working in the store wanted to connect with the customer not only within the four walls of our store. Now the connection can also be on Red, on Douyin, on all of the social media platforms, and our sales associate wanted to participate in that. So we created a very extensive training program and transforming our sales associate in the store into brand ambassador, which allow them during the lockdown or during period where people are a bit more reluctant to come to store, to continue to have those connections and presenting the brand and presenting the innovation.
China's massive digital population presents a huge market for e-commerce, since 70% of its population uses the internet. Live stream shopping occupies a popular space in China's e-commerce market. Live streaming accounts for 10% of Chinese e-commerce revenue, with an estimated merchandise value of over $420 billion in 2022. Analysts estimate that almost 500 million people made purchases on a shopping live stream in 2021, a 20% increase from 2020. And for you, Jackie, how is the trend in technology like?
For us, I would say there are several takeaways. One is it's becoming so dynamic that there's some of the, say, after the exams for the students, before the college entry, there's a huge surge with the gaming PCs demand. So we have to be prepared. We have to be more flexible with our supply chains and the procurement, just to make sure that we can cater to those changes. And working from home for us is also changing lots of ways how we talk to our customers. For instance, they're working from home, and we have to make sure that when it comes to service, we have to really drive more of an online support other than just a next business day visit, because it's completely changing the landscapes. And also I see that with the economy evolving and the consumption upgrading, we do see that on some of the mature markets, how to make sure that we can cater a different needs with different geos, with different products to our consumers is very important, so that we don't lose track of where the opportunities are. So those are really the things that we have to keep changing, keep adapting, and keep leading as well. We get feedback more from our consumers in terms of how we can even run even faster. So our gaming, for instance, we're changing from 16:9 ratio to 16:10, better resolution, higher refresh rate, newest graphic, newest chipset. So we'll just keep evolving with that. Otherwise, I think this is also highly competitive market. Don't you agree, Mr. Yann? Highly competitive. So we have to make sure.
It's definitely competitive.
Exactly. We have to make sure we always get the best, the latest and newest into China.
International brands are enjoying the wealth of the Chinese market, but domestic products have also gained traction in recent years. Guochao, or Chinese fashion trend, is booming among Chinese consumers, boosting demand for domestic brands and products. The percentage of keyword searches for Chinese brands surged to more than 2/3 among all the searches on Baidu, up from only about 1/3 10 years earlier. From food and drinks to clothing, technology, and even electric vehicles, the trend to embrace domestic brands has spread rapidly. For many international companies, how to sustain competitiveness in the Chinese market becomes a challenge. Now, you also mentioned about the competitiveness of this market right now in China, domestic-made brands. So these brands are gaining more popularity, I'm sure, both in fashion and in technologies. How do you position yourself in the face of that?
With a lot of respect for all of the great work that the local brands are doing and Chinese brands. We never look at China only as a market. We rarely look at China also as a source of inspiration for us. I mean, inspiration in terms of product innovation, inspiration in terms of customer experience, inspiration in terms of digitalization. So we want to be part of this dialogue. We want to know the Chinese designer. We want to know more about what they are doing, because we recognize also that they are laser focused and they are very, very obsessed about understanding and serving the Chinese customer. So again, a lot of respect and a lot of learning from us. We started also last year, and we continue now, a very interesting project with the Donghua University of Fashion and Design in Shanghai, when we collaborated with more than 100 young designers to be, and sharing with them, okay, what do you believe Coach can bring to China? What is your emotion? What do you have in your mind? And that was very, very exciting. We are sure that the coming few decades, the cool thing will come from China. We put a name for that. We call it the China Cool. We recognize that the young generation, we spoke about them before, they look for more and more personalized service, personalized product. It's not about putting a picture of the temple of heaven on the product and say, oh my God, I have a Chinese product. You know, I mean,
dragon.
Exactly. Or you put a dragon on it and okay, that's done. No. I mean, really, China is booming with innovation. China is booming with a very rich artistic scene. China is moving to a point with a lot of very great local brands that we are looking at. And we want to help, in fact. Sometimes I have a hard time when I'm explaining people who are not living in China. What is a China way of life? Why is China cool? Why I'm spending more than 10 years in Shanghai and I really love it? You know, because outside of China, people have a hard time to visualize what is the Chinese way of life.
Yeah.
But I believe those artists, those brands, with whom we will continue to collaborate, by the way, will little by little have their voice heard outside of China, and people will understand better why China is so cool.
Yeah, soft power. There you go. That's a great way to actually promote China and let the world know about our culture and design. So incorporating Chinese artists. How about for technologies?
Yeah, I would say with some similarity to what Yann just said, because clearly on the technology part of the world, we do see that Chinese consumers actually has different needs. We get more insights from countries that has different needs, and then we try to really cater to that needs. And sometimes we bring forth even new things to countries where it's a newfound need, to that market. So that's how we try to make sure that we don't lose the local touch, while we can benefit from being a global company. So we try to continue to create this kind of values to our customers. That's how I see it. So we don't necessarily compete against anybody, but we have to make sure that we have to please our customers.
Coming up next, with Generation Z becoming mainstream, what will be the next consumption trend?
Definitely very engaged on social media. The next one will be engaged into social media metaverse community building.
When businesses enter the e-commerce era, how do they market?
Very important that you leverage social media to come across, because they would buy something they already know very much in detail.
You've traveled to places where others couldn't be, seen things others couldn't imagine, and heard stories you can't be sure whether to believe. They say that you're privileged, that people look up to you. But only you know how much effort you've made. You're on the ultimate journey to discover a country with 5,000 years of history and nearly 1.5 billion people. Is it a green countryside or a vast sea of neon lights and skyscrapers? Is it a dangerous land choked with smog, or the blue sky of a summer's day? What is this China for you? And what is this China for the rest of the world? CGTN. See the difference.
Now, looking forward, right? Where do you think will be the main driver in the next couple of years in terms of, the groups of consumers or in terms of the fields that you're in?
I try to look more than a couple years. Now, the interesting part, the exciting part, that's why I'm looking not only 2 years but more, is that yes, we speak a lot about the Gen Z because the Gen Z is born with a fantastic mobile phone in his hand. And because of that, the level of engagement digitally is very high. Gen Z, that is our customer now for the coming few years, I think definitely is very engaged on social media. The next one will be engaged into social media, metaverse community building.
Right.
And we need to start to be in front of them now. You have to be where they are.
Yeah.
You cannot ask the customer, especially the young one, to come and consider you. You need to find them where they are and say, and providing something relevant and exciting for them.
The metaverse is undoubtedly one of the biggest topics in 2022. Underpinning all the buzz is the very real potential for AR, VR to fundamentally change how consumers interact with brands and shop, both online and in person. Will the metaverse and Web3 dramatically change the way we shop? Probably yes. But the technology driving this will take some time to become even close to widespread. Still, many retailers and businesses are jumping on the brand wagon. Whether it's by filing trademarks for NFTs, releasing their own games, or looking into futuristic advertising methods, companies are springing up to accommodate them. Yeah, a lot is about the new generation, the Gen Z, the younger demographic, isn't it?
Yeah.
What about for you guys?
For us,
technologies?
I want to start by talking a little bit on the macroeconomics.
Okay.
So if you compare between China and the US, if you look at the percentage of GDP that is consumption, China is way lower as part of the GDP. So it's quite apparent that for this economy to further grow, it's already 30% more or less of the incremental global GDP now. But still there's lots of headroom to further grow the business on the part of consumption. Yes. So I think that's one. So for anybody playing the long shot, I think that is quite clear. I do see that there is a very much diversified need. Just to Yann's point,
very similar
in terms of age, demographics, geographics, and in terms of different, I would say, sub-segment needs. 20 years ago, when you talk about segmentation, you can have like 4 segmentations. and now, if you have 4 segmentations, basically you lose touch with the market. So in that case, we have to be, again, further adaptive, cater to the needs of the market, just to make sure that we can do a better job.
Also, e-commerce. I think we've talked a little bit about the online sales. I'm sure more and more of your products are sold online now. Every year, I think there's an increase, right? How is that changing the whole dynamic, and how much of a focus, and how do you position yourself in terms of that?
So we're very lucky as well here because we opened Coach.com e-commerce in 2012 in China. So that's already 10 years ago. We were, I think, the first brand to open a WeChat account in 2012 as well. At that time, people say, why do you do to WeChat? That's not for brand. We were the first brand to open a flagship on Douyin to sell product, also e-commerce enabled. So we really want to participate into a lot of what is up and coming. We don't know what will be the next fantastic application for social media or for e-commerce in the coming 5 to 10 years. I think we don't know it mostly because maybe it doesn't exist yet. But if you kind of find it and engage with them, not everybody is shopping on the same platform, and not everybody is looking for the same customer experience or not even the same user interface. or not the same recommendation profile, or not the same algorithm behind. So it's an extremely exciting, as you said, journey, because you kind of building the plane in the same time you are flying.
Yeah. And
well, if you look at China's e-commerce, 90% of e-commerce is mobile.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and according to third-party information, I think Amazon in US probably is more like a 40%.
Oh, wow.
So clearly China is different in terms of e-commerce, right? So it's very important that we can really tap on the mobile social media as well as the mobile e-commerce.
Okay.
So it's very much about technological disciplines, process disciplines, as well as creativity. So we are very much prepared to tackle this change and dynamic in the e-commerce field. Also, we work with all the major China e-tailers like JD.com, flagship stores, marketplace, Alibaba, just to make sure that we have our products available for our customers everywhere. So that's how I see it. But it's very important to also understand that touch and feel is indispensable.
Yeah. A lot of time, at least the old time, I should say, maybe we hear less of that. There was a bit of a conversation about, there is e-commerce and there is a brick and mortar store.
Yes.
And one gonna eat the other one alive. But when you speak to customer, or when you reflect about ourselves, first, human being is still a very social animal.
That's true.
So we want to socialize, of course, digitally, but we also want to meet real people. Brick and mortar store are not dead at all.
No.
But a boring brick and mortar store is going to die.
Yeah.
So you need to find something, you need to find a good reason to come. And one of the reasons, by the way, is the team that we have in the store, the design of the store, the experience, the product, but the team that we have in the store. So where is the boundary if one of my sales associates in the store is selling something online to a customer? Is it e-commerce? Is it brick and mortar? Is it? And the answer is we don't care that much.
No.
That's just part of a customer journey and the customer satisfaction.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. When I think of it, I have quite a few of sales
Yes, I'm sure.
people on my phone now, and they push me
Yes.
new updates of products, and I sometimes order directly on the phone, and then when I have time, I go for an experience. It's now really more about the experience. I'm sure for also technologies, right? When you go to the store, you try the screen, you feel the games, whatever new technologies you have.
Exactly.
So that's the key now.
I want to go beyond a little bit about the commerce,
Okay.
but other things that is which is really the social media. Yeah, so definitely it's very important that if you look at, especially on some of the segments, like on our business, consumer gaming, those are geeky people playing the games, right? They want to know the product.
I play games as well.
All right.
Geeks are popular.
Yeah, so it's very important that you leverage social media to come across, because they would buy something they already know very much in detail.
Yeah, perfect. All right, thank you so much for joining us. I think we are running out of time. So that's Jackie Wang, Senior Vice President of Dell Technologies, and Yann Bozec. He's the President of Tapestry Asia. And I think that will conclude our program this time. We all had a great time and hope you did too. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.